If Canada PR is even slightly on your mind, what I'm about to tell you can change your entire future. Because in 2026, Canada is quietly rewriting the PR rulebook, and most applicants won't realize it until it's too late. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll tell you what's changing, why it's changing, and what mistake is killing PR applications right now. Let's clear the noise once and for all, because misinformation is spreading faster than facts. Canada is not canceling immigration. Canada is not shutting down the PR system. And Canada is absolutely not anti-immigrant. What's actually happening is far more strategic and far less dramatic. Canada is upgrading how it selects immigrants, tightening the filter to make sure permanent resident status goes to people who can genuinely contribute to the country's long-term economy, workforce, and social stability. This upgrade isn't about reducing numbers overnight or creating panic headlines. It's about precision. The focus is on identifying who truly adds value, who fills real labor gaps, and who can settle successfully without putting pressure on housing, healthcare, and public services. In simple terms, Canada is shifting from a volume-based system to a value-based system, and the core question driving every 2026 immigration decision is now crystal clear. Who genuinely earns a PR card and who no longer fits Canada's future needs? Nothing more, nothing less, no drama, no exaggeration, just a smarter, more controlled immigration approach. What's really changing in 2026 is not a rule here or a form there. It's the mindset of Canada's entire immigration system. For years, the system worked on a simple idea. If you met the minimum requirements, stayed patient, and waited your turn, permanent residents would eventually come. That logic is now being replaced. Canada is no longer looking for just any immigrant who qualifies on paper. Canada is actively selecting the right immigrant who can immediately contribute to the economy, fill real labor shortages, and sustain themselves long-term in a high-cost country. In 2026, PR is no longer something you passively wait for. It's something you actively earn by proving economic value, aligning your skills with Canada's current and future workforce needs, and showing that your presence solves a problem rather than adds pressure. This isn't a small adjustment or a temporary tightening. It's a structural shift in how Canada decides who belongs permanently, and applicants who don't understand this change early risk-building profiles that look eligible but are no longer competitive in the new system. Change. The average profile is now a weak profile. Let's be blunt. An average profile in 2026 is no longer safe. It's risky. Average means generic education, basic English, non-target occupation, no long-term demand alignment. Earlier, that profile waited longer. Now, that profile gets filtered out silently. No rejection email, no explanation, just nothing. Silence. System rejection. So why is Canada doing this now? Pay close attention. Canada is under real pressure, not headlines pressure. Real, on-the-ground pressure. Housing supply hasn't kept up with population growth. Hospitals are stretched thin. Employers can't find workers in critical roles while other sectors are overcrowded, and the cost of living has climbed faster than wages. Because of this, the government had to stop and ask a very uncomfortable but necessary question. Who should actually receive permanent status in this country? And the answer is no longer anyone who qualifies on paper. The answer is people who actively solve Canada's problems, not people who unknowingly add to them. That's why the PR system is changing direction, away from hope-based immigration where applicants simply waited their turn, and toward impact-based immigration, where Canada looks at what you contribute, where you fit, and whether your presence strengthens the economy and communities long-term. In simple terms, PR is no longer about dreaming of Canada, it's about being useful to Canada's future. For years, applicants were trained to believe one dangerous myth. If my CRS score is high enough, PR is guaranteed. That logic worked years ago. But in 2026, that thinking can quietly kill your application. Canada has moved away from a numbers-only system and is now running immigration like a labor market strategy. Instead of asking how many points you have, the system is asking what problem you solve. Your age, your IELTS bands, and your degree still matter. But they are no longer the decision makers. They are just entry checks. What matters more now is what you do for a living, where that skill is urgently needed in Canada, and whether that demand will still exist years from now. That's why a profile with a lower score but strong labor market relevance can move ahead, while a higher scoring but generic profile sits untouched. In real terms, this means a relevant CRS score beats a high but irrelevant one. A 460 score connected to healthcare, skilled trades, or tech support roles that Canada actively needs is far more powerful than a 520 score in a field with no immediate labor shortage. This is why category-based and occupation-targeted draws are becoming the new normal. When Canada compares two applicants, it no longer sees them as numbers on a leaderboard. It sees them as solutions versus statistics. The applicant whose skills can be used right now and long-term will always move faster than someone whose profile looks impressive on paper but doesn't match Canada's real economic needs. That is the 2026 reality, and ignoring it is no longer an option. Change. 3. Work experience is now under a microscope. In 2026, Canada is no longer impressed by fancy job titles or well-designed resumes. Immigration officers are looking past what you claim and focusing on what you actually did on the job. The key question is no longer, what was your designation? But, do your real, day-to-day duties clearly match Canada's official NOC responsibilities? If your experience sounds good on paper, but cannot be verified through reference letters, employer records, or logical career progression, it immediately raises red flags. Even more importantly, if your work experience does not directly help fill a genuine labor shortage in Canada, it loses value fast, no matter how many years you claim. Under the new system, exaggerated roles, copied job descriptions, or loosely matched experience are no longer shortcuts to PR. They are now one of the fastest ways to weaken or even destroy an application, because Canada is prioritizing proven, relevant, and verifiable skills that solve real economic needs, not inflated titles that only look impressive at first glance. Change. 4. Students and work permit holders, listen closely. This is where many people misunderstand Canada's system in 2026. Canada is no longer impressed by how long you stayed in the country. It is focused on what you did with that time. Simply being in Canada as a student or worker is no longer enough. If you came as a student, picked a random diploma just to get a visa, enrolled in a low-value or low-outcome institution, and followed no clear career direction that matches Canada's labor market needs, your PR pathway automatically becomes weaker, even if you complete your studies successfully. And if you are on a work permit but remain stuck in survival or temporary jobs, show no real skill growth, and fail to move into roles that align with Canada's long-term demand occupations, the system reads that as stagnation, not contribution. In 2026, Canada is clearly signaling that PR is for those who show progress, planning, and economic relevance, not for those who simply remain present without direction. Time spent no longer earns points. Measurable progress does. Change. 5. PR card is not a free pass anymore. This is one of the most misunderstood and most dangerous assumptions among PR applicants today. Many people still believe that once they receive a Canadian PR card, the system stops watching them. That belief is wrong. In reality, Canada is now treating permanent residence as a conditional privilege, not a lifetime guarantee. A PR card is not permanent forever, it is not immune to review, and it is definitely not untouchable. In 2026 and beyond, Canada is tightening its grip through stricter residency obligation checks, deeper compliance audits, and zero-tolerance enforcement against misrepresentation. That means your travel history, time spent outside Canada, employment records, and even old application details can be reviewed at any point. One incorrect statement, one exaggerated job duty, or one fake document, whether submitted years ago or recently, can trigger serious consequences, including investigations, status challenges, or even loss of permanent residence. The message from Canada is clear. PR status now comes with accountability. Permanent residence is no longer just a status you hold. It is a responsibility you must continuously prove you deserve. What smart PR applicants are doing right now is very different from the crowd. They are not chasing random rumors or last-minute shortcuts. They are carefully researching demand-based immigration pathways, studying which occupations Canada will actually need in the next few years, not just today. Instead of obsessing over CRS points alone, they are upgrading real skills that employers and provinces are actively looking for, because they understand that skills create invitations, not just test scores. These applicants are planning 2 to 3 years ahead, aligning their education, work experience, and location with Canada's long-term labor market needs, rather than hoping for luck in the next draw. Most importantly, they stay far away from agents promising guaranteed PR, because they know that in 2026, shortcuts are the fastest way to rejection or future problems. Smart applicants have accepted one hard truth. Canadian PR is no longer something you wait for. It's something you earn through strategy, relevance, and preparation. Canada PR is not dead, and anyone telling you that immigration is over is simply spreading noise. But here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Careless PR applications are being quietly eliminated. In 2026, the system is no longer forgiving confusion, poor planning, or copy-paste profiles. Applicants who adapt to new rules, align their skills with real Canadian demand, and prepare strategically move ahead, while those who ignore the shift, rely on outdated advice, or chase shortcuts fall behind without warning. This isn't fear-mongering, and it's not hype. These are factual changes happening inside Canada's immigration selection process right now. And that's exactly why this channel exists. To give you real Canadian immigration updates, not fake guarantees, clear practical guidance, not confusing talk, and a smart PR strategy that actually matches how Canada selects immigrants today. So if you're serious about your future, subscribe now, like this video, and comment your current status, student, worker, or outside Canada. Because staying informed is no longer optional. It's part of surviving the PR process. Because the next video will break down the safest PR pathways after 2026, step by step. Stay informed. Stay ahead. This was breaking Canadian immigration news. This video is for information and educational purposes only. The content shared here is based on publicly available information, personal analysis, and general immigration trends at the time of recording. It does not constitute legal advice, immigration consultancy, or a guarantee of permanent residency approval. Canadian immigration rules and policies may change at any time, and individual cases can vary. Viewers are strongly advised to verify information from official Government of Canada sources or consult a licensed immigration professional before making any decisions.